G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at basically, well, to cut a long story short, we're going to be taking a look at the final stage of the Mortal Will and Divine Wrath event, and that is for the Zero Mortals plan. So whether this is the final stage in total, I'm not sure. Maybe they'll add one more against Merge Zamasu, maybe, would be cool. But for now, this is the final stage, and as per all the other stages, we'll be completing this one free to play. Now, this stage is a little bit different, and it starts out pretty tough. It's a pretty strong stage, I'd say. It's not obviously super duper mega hard, but it's still pretty tough. You can see here, first phase is against Tech, Rose, and Goku Black. And then the second phase is actually against AGL, Goku Black, and Int Zamasu. Now, the thing is, you don't have to beat Zamasu and Goku Black in round 2. You can beat just one of them. So, or not just one, sorry, you only have to beat Goku Black. So, essentially, it's kind of a way to, shorten your time, or just to give you an idea. You don't have to beat the Zamasu, you just have to focus on the Goku Black. Obviously he's AGL type, which means if you bring tech units, traditionally they get kind of slapped up by the Int Zamasu, but in this scenario we've brought in tech units that'll be fine, both defensively and offensively. How we've done this is we've built a full extreme team, basically just focusing on extreme units only. We've got the Metal Cooler androids, the Metal Cooler army as our lead. He's obviously been easy age on the battlefield shop. He's 130% lead across the board for all extreme type units, which is great. He does decent damage. He also heals us as well, and just provides some decent-ish linkage with Zamasu. Nothing wild, but at least big bad bosses, legendary power, etc. Then, if we take a look, obviously Zamasu, we're just going to keep in the rotation with him, let Zamasu do his thing, build up his damage. Then we have the Ginyu units. Now we're going to link up the Ginyu units. We're going to have the physical LR Ginyu link up with the Int Ginyu. Now Int Ginyu is pretty good for two reasons. One, in the first phase he has type advantage, so that helps him out. And in the second phase he gains damage reduction because he's facing two enemies. So it's a pretty big deal with Int Ginyu, and so it does help him out. And then of course we're just going to float the Babidi and Vegeta LR. We're going to be using that active skill to score ourselves some pretty good damage as well, which I think is great overall. And then we're going to have just Omega Shenron also kind of float around. He's a unit that is decent defensively after Super, so he's going to be relatively solid there. And that kind of covers like the majority of the units. Outside of the Ginyus linking up, and outside of the Zamasu and Metal Cooler kind of link up, there's not set rotations. The first form cell does pretty well. You can also use him if you want to link up with Zamasu, although I do like the Metal Core Cooler, at least in the first phase. The first form cell also is great at healing, so that does tend to help out. Now in the second phase, Goku Black or Goku Rose is very tanky. We're talking like very tanky, which can cause you some issues. So you need to really either focus him down, score some crits, and really just kind of pivot and focus on him. I have a hunch he actually takes less damage the more you attack him, much like the anime. At least that's what it feels like to me. It could just be my brain tricking me, but that is what it feels like. Obviously you can't seal them, can't stun them, can't do any of that cool stuff, can't attack lower them, can't defense lower them. And that's how they make events really hard in Dokkan. Beyond just giving them crazy stats, they just make them really hard. So but overall, outside of that, just focusing down Goku Black is the priority. We're going to do that in a couple ways. So obviously first thing, like I said, we're going to use that active or that standby skill from Babidi and Vegeta. Really let it just build up orbs, and the moment they come back we're going to use that to score ourselves some very big damage. We're also going to use some items. So we're going to use Whis items and Ghost Usher items, and these are going to help us to delay, just to score up some charge on that ability and score some free damage. And yeah, Zamasu is going to carry a lot of the damage payload, obviously being the fact that he crits, being the fact that he has type advantage as well. So overall, he's going to do a lot of the damage payload. Between that, the rest of the units are, fairly tanky and are quite reliable. So outside of that, there's not a specific real requirement for us. So yeah, pretty straightforward. I will say, from my side, that honestly, really impressive stuff. I think overall the team worked really quite nicely, all things considered. Just thinking about the fight itself and everything. Obviously we used items, but I do think considering it's all free-to-play units and everything, I think it worked quite nicely. Obviously the Friends Master Lead carrying a lot of the payload. You can use his active skill as well if you want to get those AoE attacks, but it does take some time because we don't have Future Saga units or Realm of the Gods units really to facilitate that increased or decreased turn timer for him. So yeah, realistically speaking, we're just kind of focusing on getting that damage out there. So that was kind of the priority. Outside of that, I'd say not really anything major, and yeah, in general was just a fairly decent run. They do hit pretty hard. You are going to want to be aware of that. I think that's pretty imperative. But yeah, I think in general the team ran quite well. You'll see a lot of the times I'm prioritizing where to keep orbs, trying to facilitate units like Zamasu to just kind of full focus their damage. We also are trying to prioritize getting as many orbs as possible because we do want that active skill from Vegeta to score some big damage. We do want to score some pretty good damage and just kind of dish out some good damage. So we want those orbs. We need those orbs. Remember, Vegeta has a threshold. Once you get more than 30 orbs, then he does substantially more damage, and so that is what we're aiming for as well there. So outside of that, though, everything ran fine. I honestly didn't have any major issues with how the team ran. I was very happy with it, and at the end of the day, I was quite impressed with the overall functionality of the team. I think it did more than fine. Obviously, with items as a caveat, if that's an issue for some people. But yeah, now one thing you do want to do, so before you fire off Vegeta's active skill, especially if you're going to put them in the third slot, collect orbs, because this augments the damage. So don't throw away that damage. You collect that damage and then use the active skill, and boom, you do quite a nice chunk of damage, which I think was pretty cool overall. It's a good strategy. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think for me was more than fine. I think for me it was pretty straightforward. So yeah, for me, super duper easy, and a good time. But yeah, that's the last one for now. So let me know what you guys think or how you enjoyed them, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, of course, take care, stay safe. I appreciate your guys' support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Well, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.